Welcome to Herself, a space for women to have deep conversations about the intersection between spiritual entrepreneurship and fulfilling your potential, so you can become the woman you truly are in every area of your life. After being in business for over 2 decades, I've learned, as you likely have too, that as you grow your business grows you in unexpected, often challenging, yet miraculous ways. Here, we'll talk about how to get out of your own way so you can grow a business that's abundant and sustainable while allowing you to be a force for good in the world. I'll give you simple, actionable strategies as well as wisdom and inspiration to help you root into your wholeness, lead from your values, and work in ways that feel deeply aligned so you can bring your true self into the world through your business and in every area of your life. How do I know when it's time to invest more in my business, or if I should wait to make more money before I do that? This is something that I get asked a lot, and it's something that I've asked myself a lot over the years as well. So I wanted to address it in a more communal way because I think that this can be of benefit to many of you listening. First, I want to say this is a very personal decision. How we spend our money, how we spend our time, how we spend our energy. And when we're making these decisions, we need and want to take into account a lot of different factors, again, that vary from person to person. There is no one size fits all here. So I'm going to try to lay things out here as clearly and compassionately as I can. And you can take from here what works for you and leave behind what doesn't. So to start, I want to bring in some examples from outside the business realm. Say you want to become a yoga teacher, or you want to become a better yoga teacher, or you want to specialize in a certain kind of yoga, like restorative yoga or yin yoga. You likely will sign up for a yoga teacher training. You won't try to do that by yourself. Another example, you want to get into better shape, but you don't know that much about exercise. You don't know that much about building muscle in a safe way. And you know that left to your own devices, you won't do it. You know that you need expertise. You know you need accountability. So you hire a personal trainer. Say you have a health condition you're concerned about and that you want to heal naturally. So you hire a functional medicine doctor to put you on a supplement and food protocol and to meet with them regularly to check in, to adapt as needed, and also to give you some accountability. I'm guessing that many of us would feel okay, even good, about investing in any of these things at some or many points in our lives. I know I've invested in all of those things at different times. I also want to remind us all of the truth that where we place our attention, our energy flows there. So the more focus we bring to a certain area of our lives, the more energy is going to go there. And that's usually going to be, well, actually, it can be positive or negative, but usually when you start to really focus on your finances more, you start tracking your money more, you start just being aware of just at the end of each day, where is my money going? What recurring charges are coming in? What of these can I eliminate? What of these do I really need? You're going to feel more connected to your money, the more attention that you put onto it. So the more focus we bring to a certain area of our life, the more energy is going to go there, usually in a positive way. And things also get elevated up in their level of priority. So if you're wanting to have a more fulfilling, intimate relationship, usually when you lift that up on your priority list, maybe it's down at number 5 or something, and you move it up to number 1 or 2, that relationship is going to start to be more healthy and start to be more of a enjoyable resource for you. So I also encourage you to ask yourself, what do I want? What are my deepest heart's desires? To really get in touch with, outside of what we need, what we think we should do, what needs to happen to survive, what do you want? because our hearts and the desires in our hearts hold the pattern for how we're meant to unfold, for how we're meant to live and fully express in our lifetimes. So, if we want to be able to follow that path, we need to listen to those desires and to really honor them, to really prioritize them, to up where they are in our levels of priority. So, do you desire to have radiant health and really strong energy when you wake up in the morning? Do you desire to have more money in your bank account? Or do you desire to be able to buy a dream home, or to retire at a certain age, or to give your children a certain kind of experience, or to take your parents on an incredible trip, or to have a beautiful wardrobe, like, or a certain kind of car? These things are not trite if they are your deep desires, but just really get clear, what are they? And when we prioritize our desires, we also need to be willing to invest in bringing them into fruition. So the same thing applies to women in our businesses and our finances. But oftentimes we're just not prioritizing these things. We're not giving our businesses and our finances the resources and the supports that they need to thrive. Maybe because we think that it's not important, maybe because we think we don't deserve it, that it's selfish. A lot of us have really mixed feelings or even negative connotations around business and money. And we think that they're not spiritual. We think that they're selfish. We think that they're part of capitalism and the patriarchy. And they are, but at their root, they're not. At the root, they are channels and expressions of the sacred, potent vehicles for us to share our gifts with the world, a world that greatly needs it right now. So the first thing we want to do is create a separation, a distinction between you and your business. You and your business are not the same thing. You have a soul, and your business has its own soul. Two separate entities, not enmeshed. Both of you have innate potentials. Both of you have these deep desires that hold the patterns for your perfect unfolding. So what we want to do is create space, distinction between the two of you, and clearly listen. What are my soul's deepest desires? What are the soul of my business's deepest desires? And how can we synergistically partner together to bring those more fully into the world in ways that are more potent and possible than if we were doing it by ourselves? The thing is that your business is not an incarnate being like you are. So it needs you to partner with it, to support it, and it will also support you in coming into its fullest expression. You need to be the person taking action for it in the world because you are its steward. So in this way, what you need to grow and evolve is different than what your business needs to grow and evolve. Like, you might need a yoga teacher training. If you're a therapist, you might need to get your license or to deepen your clinical skills. If you're an architect, you're going to need to get your degree. But your business needs other things. It needs things like a central aligned vision. It needs a clear audience and messaging and positioning to reach that audience. It needs a coherent, consistent marketing plan. It needs products and an ecosystem of offers to share with your dream clients. And it needs channels for money to flow in and out of the world of your business. It needs back-end systems and structures so that things can flow really fluidly and organically. And it needs team members at a certain point to support you and your clients. Those are just some examples of the things that your business needs. So I often hear women really wanting to bring in more clients. They know that in order to do that, they need a strategy and they need a real marketing plan, not just some social media posts and a few emails scrapped together here and there. And what they're really wanting is more consistent revenue. And then they say that they don't have the money to invest in creating a strategy, creating a coherent marketing plan to draw in those clients, to create that consistent revenue. They say, I need to wait until I'm in a later stage of business. I need to wait until I have the money to invest. So there's this thinking that the egg comes after the chicken, but it doesn't. The egg actually comes before the chicken. If you want to get support in really dialing in the specifics for you and your business about your audience, about your messaging, about the marketing, about your offer, if you want to wait to get that support until you have more money coming in, what's going to happen is you're going to be creating a lot more of the same. You're going to be creating likely a lot that's mediocre and generic and getting really lackluster and disappointing results. That's going to likely make you feel more tired and more frustrated and have even more self-doubt. Especially in this day and age with the market as it is, it's very sophisticated. You have to find a way to differentiate yourself from what other people are doing. You need to put more attention into the messaging, into the audience, into the positioning, into the marketing first. So if you wait to get that support, who knows how long that will take, and there will be a lot of spinning your wheels. You likely will never have the right kind of money to invest, because if you keep doing the same things, you're going to keep getting the same results. Or if you do eventually have the money, you'll need to go back and redo what you've already done. So that ends up costing more time, more energy, more money in the long term. So it's just like if you try to teach yourself how to be a yoga teacher through YouTube videos and books, rather than just taking a training. It will take longer, it'll be more frustrating, it will be less enjoyable, and you won't be as good of a yoga teacher. So why not just do it right from the start? And doing it right from the start gives you confidence, which we all need more of in our work and in our lives. It's one of the biggest things we suffer from is self-doubt and a lack of believing in ourselves and our capacity. And people can feel this in us. People can be subconsciously reacting to this and maybe not wanting to work with us. But having a solid foundation, having a solid plan, having solid marketing gives us more confidence. And I think that this is not as much of an issue with men. I'm not saying that men don't struggle with any of these things, but I've seen that men are more conditioned to believe at a deeper level that it's okay to invest in their businesses and in their finances. There's this feeling that they deserve it, that it's just part of what men do. And again, I know I'm speaking in generalities here, but just go with me on this, just to find that common denominator here. They believe that they have more capacity in these areas. Whereas we as women, we feel much more timid, where we might feel like we can justify investing in our relationships, in our families, even our home or our health or our credentials. We don't feel like we can justify it as much to invest in our businesses because we just don't think that we have what it takes. But here's the thing, the way to get to the next level in your business is to make a next level investment in your business. And I say this from having done this multiple times and experiencing that firsthand. So look at anyone, talk to anyone who's achieved something admirable, something that you want in business, and they will tell you that they did this. Usually they can point to their first scary investment, the one that they made that they didn't think they could or should make, and subsequent ones that they made after that, because there's always a new next level. Yet a part of them knew that they had to do it. They knew it's what they needed to make happen. Even if maybe it didn't make that much sense at the time, or even if they didn't know how they were going to do it, they made a way to make it happen. Now, I want to say this is not about going into massive debt. I am all about financial sustainability. This is not about paying for a mastermind or a coaching program instead of your rent or your mortgage or your groceries for the month. The basics come first. You have to cover the fundamentals. And I would guess that if you were told that your child or your partner or your pet needed surgery next month and it was going to cost $10,000 and you knew you needed to gather the resources for that you would find a way. There's always a way. Like splitting the cost on credit cards, getting a loan from a bank or a microloan service, a family member or a friend. Maybe there's some money in savings, some in a retirement account. Maybe there could be a mixture of these things, a combination. I've done all of these things to invest in my business. Now, generally, I'm a fan of living a debt-free life, and at times I have taken on intentional temporary debt to fund business investments that I've researched will give me an ROI or a return on investment. It's very common to get a line of credit or to get a loan in order to grow one's business or to put more money on a credit card to help something get off the ground with a plan to pay that off. So to get to the next level, we often need to stretch further than we feel like we can currently, whether this is bringing on our first virtual assistant, our first team member, when we're just not quite sure how we're going to do that, even though if we keep doing things how we're doing them, which is doing it all ourselves, we're not going to grow. So we have to. Or it's taking a coaching program to help us to really get these pieces in place within a set period of time to help us get to the next level without trying to be scrappy and do it ourselves, because we all know that that just doesn't work. So this is about making a really grounded, intentional decision and really researching what is the ROI? What's the plan for making that money back in the first 3 months, the first 6 months, 9 months, 12 months? A good business plan, a good business program will help you to see how you can make that money back even exponentially in that time frame and for many years to come. So this is why often investing in our businesses is different than other types of investments, because there's an actual financial ROI. So yes, if we invest in our health, that's going to give us more energy. It's going to give us more confidence. It's going to just increase our happiness level, our contentment level day in and day out. But if we invest in our businesses, it's also likely going to give us those things, and it's also likely going to give us more money coming in. So at first, when we have less money, then we also need to put in more energy. So we need to be willing, if we invest in our businesses, to put in the work to bring that investment into fruition. We can't just invest in something and then sit back and expect to get results. We have to show up for what's being offered. We have to, a metaphor I like to use is, we have to juice the orange all the way. And for instance, if we're investing in a coaching program, just to be all in, to go to the events, to ask for help, to use the resources there, to put your plan in place. And you need to be really honest with yourself. Will you show up fully for this investment? And what do you need to put in place to help you to show up for this investment? So I want to share with you a few examples from my own life, times where I did invest and times when I didn't invest and how that went. Okay, so this is over the past 15 years or so. So I first entered into the realm of online business in 2008. I moved where I was living in Thailand in my 20s. I moved back to the US, moved to Boulder, Colorado, where I am now. And I was working with a business coach to help me to start to bring my work online. I created a blog, I created a new website, I started leading free teleclasses, or they were called teleseminars. I created my first online course. And I started studying with just the leading women's entrepreneur coach at that time, who was Allie Brown. And I was just enamored by what she was doing. She was in her mid-30s. She was a multimillionaire. She was very, very successful, very influential. And I took one program with her and she opened the doors to a mastermind. It was a big investment. I think it was like somewhere between like $35,000 and $50,000, which was just way more money than I had available at that time. But something inside me was like, I have to do this. I felt so deeply called. And I talked myself out of it and just said, this is impossible. This is crazy. I should just wait until I'm making more money and then I can do it. All these things I was sharing with you earlier about the ways that we make excuses. And someone else joined her mastermind at that time. It was someone who we all likely know now, Marie Forleo. Marie Forleo was in Ali Brown's mastermind. And look where Marie Forleo is now. So Marie Forleo acted. She made the investment and then was willing to put a plan in place to get that ROI. She made that investment and it catapulted her to a whole new level. And so at this point, it's like, I don't think I'll ever catch up with Marie Forleo. Well, one, I'm not trying to catch up with her, but just to say that when we delay investing in ourselves in these ways, and we say, I'll just do it later, I'll just do it later, we just set ourselves further and further back. So I always kind of regretted that. And then Ali Brown's prices just kept going up and up and up. And so even when I did start making more money, it just started to feel like, how am I even going to make that possible? So fast forward a few years to 2012. And I had put things in place, like I said, all these pieces, but they were kind of disjointed. I was like doing this thing there and that thing there and that thing there. I didn't have really a central plan. Things were just not organized because I just didn't know how to do that. And I had a friend and colleague at the time who made a significant investment in a business coaching program. And she crossed over the 6-figure mark for the first time. And she was doing things that I just thought were so cool. And I was like, I want to do something like that. I want to stop doing these little piddly things here and there. And I want to create something really substantial. And I want to stand out from the noise. So I sought out that same business coach and I had a conversation with her to see what it would take to work with her. And she presented to me a $10,000 program. I knew that I needed to say yes. I knew that in the past with Ali Brown, I said no. And I said, I'm not doing that again. I don't want to wait another 3 or 5 years and just be spinning my wheels. I know that if I really want to do this, I need to do this now. And I didn't know where I was going to get that money. As I sat with it, what I ended up doing was taking the majority of that money out of one of my retirement accounts, which I have no regrets about. Because even though I'm a really big fan on investing in our retirement, I'm religious about that. But it's like, how do we invest in the moment so that we can have more to invest in the long run? So I said yes, I stepped in and I made my first 6 figures in that first year. I think I went from like max $50,000 a year. I went right to 6 figures. And I set up an actual business model, not just piecing things together here and there. I actually went, as Stephen Pressfield said, I went pro. I took myself seriously. And I went on to make upwards of multiple 6 figures beyond that. And I would say I've made over $1 million from that investment since then. It taught me how to be a real business owner and to really set myself apart from what other people are doing to create a legitimate plan. So I 10x that investment in the first year and 100x'd it in the year since then. I'll just keep doing that. The third example is last spring, I knew I wanted to make a shift in my business model. And I invested in a coaching program that was $4,000 a month. So this was the biggest investment I had ever made in my business. I put down $12,000. And I had a clear plan on what I wanted to walk away from that experience with. Specifically, I wanted to create the program, which is now called Sorcerer's CEO. I had been conceiving of it in my mind for some time. And I knew that I wanted to work with people who had real experience with that business model. And they actually had a program that had a lot of similarities to it. It's not at all the same program. It's very different feel, very different energy, very different kind of people, but some similarities to it. So I was able to step into that program, learn from people who had done what I wanted to do, reach the income level that I wanted to reach, and also have kind of the felt experience of being in that type of program that I was wanting to create. So in that program, I launched the founding member version of Sorcerer CEO. And I exponentially, I had an exponential return on investment. It was a very successful founding members launch that they helped me to plan and execute. And I continue to have this program, Sorcerer CEO, that I know will serve me and many others for years to come. But if I had just said, I'm going to do this by myself, I know it wouldn't have gone as well. It would not have been as professional. I would not have learned the in and outs of all the things that they knew. It would have taken me much longer. And likely it would have cost me more money because I would have made more mistakes and would have not made as much money from it. So these times when it did work for me, I made a clear decision and took clear action. In the first case, I didn't decide. I let myself talk myself out of it, even though I know that if I was really committed, I could have found a way to piece things together. Again, maybe from multiple sources, maybe from some savings, from credit card, from a loan, or from a family member or friend. But I didn't take action, so I didn't get the results, and it set me back. So we need to think about, what is it costing us to not invest in our businesses? And I agree, there are times when we could make poor investments in our businesses. Maybe we invest in the wrong person or program, or we invest in something, but then we don't show up for it. But I'm talking about when we make a clear, aligned decision, we feel an inner yes. In our core, yes, we can have parts that feel afraid and are saying, how is this going to happen? Et cetera, et cetera. But then if we show up and juice the orange all the way. So that coaching program that I did last year, I made the intention to juice the orange all the way. I showed up for the events. I shared what I was working on to get feedback. I was willing to be coachable every step of the way, and I got results. So more often than not, what is holding us back is coming from fear. We have a lack of seeing possibilities. Maybe there's a lack of belief in ourselves that we'll be able to get there, a lack of taking clear action to get us to where we want to go. So think about it. Olympic athletes have a whole success team. Anyone who achieves greatness in any field, in any realm, has a success team. Who is on your success team? Today, we're talking specifically about your business. Who is on your business success team? This does not include your credentials or your professional training. This is about your skills as a business owner and what your business needs to come into its fullest expression. So we want more money. If we want more money, we have to spend more money to make more money. If we want others to pay us well for our services, we need to be willing to invest in ourselves. If we're not willing to invest in ourselves, why should others make that same investment in us? So say that we're wanting to raise our rates or to create a signature program with a certain kind of a price tag. We need to invest in something of that caliber for ourselves first. We need to raise our financial frequencies. And when we do that, when we invest in ourselves, we raise our financial frequency. We put a stake in the ground. We say, I believe in myself. And then we get in the room with other people who are playing at that level. So the kind of person who's in a room for a $2,000 program is different than the kind of person who's in a room for a $5,000 program or a $10,000 program or a $100,000 program. Maybe the same things are being taught there, but there's a different energy because there are higher stakes. People are playing a bigger game. So I ask you, is it time for you to play a bigger game? If you want to get bigger results, the answer is yes. If you want to play a bigger game, you need to make a bigger investment in you and your business. You and your business are here to be beacons of light in this world. You're here to marry your soul with the soul of your business so you can both become who and what you're here to be. This takes time, this takes attention, and yes, this takes financial investment. And we're not talking about frivolous financial investments. We're talking about real, clear, grounded, well thought out, aligned financial investments that are in tune with your values and that are in tune with bringing your deepest desires into fruition. So if you want to invest in powerfully crafting the world of your business in the year ahead, in partnership with Its Soul and Yours, applications are open until Monday, July 8th for my intimate mentorship and mastermind circle, Sorceress CEO. If this is something that speaks to you at a deep level, you can learn more at sorceressceo.com. That's sorceressceo.com, and the link is also in the show notes. So this is for you if you're a female business owner, a coach, therapist, healing, or creative professional, any female professional who knows it's time to up-level what you're doing. No more duct taping random strategies together, no more throwing things at the wall to see what sticks and exhausting yourself in the process. No more being too vague with your marketing and messaging so you're not drawing in enough of the right people to your business. It's time to bring more clarity, more alignment, more professionalism, and more power into what you're doing. And that requires an investment. These are not things that we can do on our own. Believe me, I've tried. I've seen other women try. It just doesn't work. We're not meant to do it alone. We can't step into our greatness all by ourselves. We don't know what we don't know. We all need a success team. And if we want to have fulfilling careers and finances, we need to invest in making that happen. We deserve those things. We deserve to invest in making that happen. So whether that's in Sorceress CEO or something that speaks to your heart's desires, I wholeheartedly, full-bodily give you my support. This is absolutely essential. Do not hesitate on it. Give yourself and your business the investments that they need to grow and thrive and become all that they're meant to be. Thank you for joining me today. And remember, change doesn't come from listening alone. I invite you to commit to taking one small or large courageous action after today's conversation. One step you can take, if you haven't already, is to sign up for my Sunday journal. It's a weekly newsletter filled with inspiration and reflections about the intersection between spiritual entrepreneurship and fulfilling your potential to help you become the woman you truly are in every area of your life. You can subscribe at programs-sarahavaughnstover.com/journal. And if you found this podcast valuable, please share it with the women in your world. Also, I'd be very grateful if you'd leave a review. It helps others find resources like this, and I'd love to hear what's coming alive for you after listening today. Above all, keep going, and never forget the unique offerings you and your true self bring to the world. Until next time, I'm sending you my heartfelt support.